So you may remember that we were thankful for wings that are not interesting.
I remember keenly how thankful we were for wings that are not interesting.
This is one that is interesting for all the wrong reasons.
Oh no.
So this room just endlessly spawns those 5 dudes, and every time you try to cross it, you get stuck fighting both groups of them.
Aha.
Because here's the thing, your invincibility period between Group A and Group B is too short, so you can't get past them.
I see. Baten Kaitos, Eternal Wing, and the Lost Sanity.
And of course, you know, not that the angels are particularly hard to fight, but like I said, they're the only ones that get 2 turns, and they're obnoxious as fuck, so every time you do, you get stuck in this fight against, like, 3 dudes who just sit there and they do nothing, but they do it 6 times in a row. And you have to do it every single time you cross through.
Like, what do you even say to that at this point? Like, do you know what you've done? You have actually managed to find something in this game that I have nothing to say to. There's just too many things. I've raised all the objections. There just isn't anything anymore.
And now, yes, we are going to have to walk back through that corridor.
Of course we are. I feel like even the weird, terrible JRPG school of game design still contends that you should be granted a teleport at this point. And yet they couldn't even manage that. That's just shameful. Alright, well, it can't possibly get any worse, right?
No, I think the worst of the castle is actually behind us at this point. Although these guys drop down and move... I mean, not randomly, obviously, but they move in a weird enough way that it seems random. Especially because the one just fucking turns around and walks backwards.
Like, they're not literally floor masters, but they got the floor master vibe. They're exactly as annoying for the exact same reasons. And there are still voice ones?
I believe that's the best one. But yeah, but like voice 6 is what? Like a extra 15%? 20-something%? I don't know because I don't use it, but...
Makes sense. It's like, do these guys not even have different gimmicks? Is it literally just the element and the which body part is on fire?
Yes, 100%. I was not joking.
Man.
The only thing that is different between these fights is which element he's using.
It's worse than a boss rush rehash. Like, I don't know, the bosses in these kinds of games tend to be in any way interesting, and you know, if it might be the same thing again, but at least you get an interesting thing again. This is just fighting a nothing 5 times. This is like, even by final dungeon mid-boss standards, this is just filler.
I mean, that one set us on fire. Is that something?
I mean, I'll take such victories as are forthcoming. I feel this is a little bit of a stretch of the context, but
I actually like this next room. It's one of the it's another puzzle room, but this one is actually like good.
I mean, are you sure?
Yes, actually. So green ones raise and lower only that one, and red ones raise and lower all the red ones.
Okay.
This is the only good idea they had in the entirety of this dungeon.
I mean, I can see it. I can also see it being completely insufferable, but I don't think we're gonna be here for long enough for this to get to the kind of completely insane depths as it could otherwise have gotten. Yeah, like I can imagine a setup for this where there's an enormous room and there's a couple of red ones and you can jigger things such that you can get a red loop going forever and ever. You know, like this. Except times a million. Yeah. I'll take it. That's like an actual puzzle. With like thinking and everything. And it's not pointlessly constrained by the engine transitions.
Yeah, the only thing that is a little weird is that the end, it's a little hard to tell where it's actually supposed to be because of how the perspective is drawn, but as long as it's at the default level, like, you can just walk across there. It doesn't look like it, but...
Yeah, wow, yeah, that absolutely looked like you should have had to have jumped that. That's very weird. I don't like that. Well, one more of these guys.
I'll say there will also briefly be a supercut of the animations and such that we missed. I assure you it was the only interesting part of these fights.
I mean, yeah. Like, not even slightly different attacks on any of them. Not even different statistical tendencies.
Nope.
Like, I don't know, I just feel like the one that doesn't have arms should fight a little bit differently from the one that doesn't have legs, but that's just like a little observation from me. You know, just a thought. Little bit of armchair game design. Anyway, yeah, we get it. It's opening up the way forward. It's making quite a sound. I think I should be used to that in this game by now.
I was gonna say, our friend, the sound designer, was having a good time.
Man, incidental game sound effects have come so far.
I was actually kind of impressed that they had the restraint to not put the chest for that one corridor behind the big group of angels.
Yeah, that seems like the kind of incredibly spiteful idea that they should have had. Like, is it wrong to be disappointed by that? I think that's legitimately disappointing. There is an extent to which I can respect spite taken to its actual conclusion. but like, okay, you want to hate the player, make me believe it is actually something that you really fundamentally feel, and not just the consequence of you not being able to be bothered to do something in a nice way. Like, go big or go home.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Gust of wind, take form of an arrow. Sword style. Lord.
And sometimes I felt that from this game, but not all the time.
Nah, I think the Tower of Zazba is really the only time you really get that feeling.
Like, the number of things that could go wrong in that place is like, yeah, it feels engineered. Even when it's like actual decent puzzles going on there, I believe I got that across enough. But there's all this stuff going on in it, and it comes together in a way that you just like... You develop a baseline respect for this complex plotwork of hatred of all its tiny little pieces ticking along in perfect harmony to make your life miserable. And you just kind of have to look at it and appreciate what it took to create something like that.
I do appreciate that each of these bosses has a different boss music.
Oh yeah.
They cycled through all of the major boss themes.
I mean, it's like, I kind of didn't notice because they're all repeats, but they're all different repeats. But I still think they should have persisted the dungeon music into it. I'm still angry about that. Anyway, this
I dig the eye pillars. That's a nice touch.
this looks very normal. Really got an aesthetic going on there. Yeah, this looks absolutely insufferable.
My favorite part is towards the back end of the room, when you can't actually tell where they are on the pre-rendered bridge.
Depth perception. What's the point of it?
This place.
Anyway, now that we've fought all the mini bosses, let's fight another bigger mini boss? Question mark?
For the feast is about to begin.
Is it at least interesting?
Melodia!
How are you, Callus? How do you feel after
I mean, I
shedding
feel
those
pretty confident that you can
beautiful
guess what's about to
white
happen.
Reverting from the white raven
I've a notion.
again to a pathetic black goat.
Melodia! We came for you! Let's go home! Together!
Go home? Home, you say? You have a way with words.
After all this, you tell me to go home?
Really think I'll
It's
let you
far
live
too
this
late to go
way
home.
alive?
Something, something, no one stops.
I guess it's about time to wrap things up. Honestly, I'm getting tired of having to play all these games with you.
I mean, that feeling is
I'd love
mutual,
to bid you
lady.
Farewell. Many happy returns. You have nothing to worry about, as everyone outside will be catching up very soon.
I mean, I can't really argue with that. That checks out.
So hey, you know how we just fought 5 identical boss fights?
Yep.
Malpercio.
So, stay with me.
God of evil.
But what if?
May have given me
What
life.
if we just had the exact
I'll be
same
putting
boss
you back
fight
to sleep.
from Algarab Village again?
I promised you, Malpercio, to send you back to the depths of darkness.
I mean, at least that will only be the second time that we've done that one.
Your 1,000 years of
I'm just saying,
despair.
this is some next level recycling happening right now.
Prepare yourself.
There must have been a hell of a budget cut that led to this. Like, this whole thing reeks of... there actually having been intended to be unique bosses in all of these. At least that's what I'm choosing to believe, rather than saying that somebody was actually capable of the very, very particularly nothing kind of a spike that leads to doing, well, this. Instead, I'm going to say it was a budget cut, and there actually was a bunch of interesting stuff, and they just couldn't.
I mean, I guess that's not totally fair. Our boy Malpercio has learned exactly one new trick since we last saw him.
Is it a particularly interesting trick?
It's a big number. Does that count as a trick?
I mean, it'll have to. But like, yeah.
Because, like, yeah, no, like, the core of this fight is literally identical.
I guess my question is, does it actually change in any particular way how you have to engage with this fight?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Is there even a shiny new particle effect involved?
Yes, there is a shiny new particle effect. I'll give it that much.
There's something. There's a tiny kernel of content here.
Is that all?
This is what I've been reduced to having to grasp at.
Is that all?
I mean, actually, does he at least have bigger numbers than before?
If he does, it's not by much. Anyway, there you go. That's his shiny new toy. I am sure that it does instant death as a proc, but I've never seen it happen. So, whatever.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it should.
I mean, you don't call your attack Divine Doom and then not do instant death, right? Like, that's not allowed. That's not legal.
Yeah, that's the law.
Fire first!
It's written. You have to.
Fire first!
Anyway, here's Jella absolutely just fucking obliterating Malpercio.
Shining light, come hither. Take form of joy and goodness. Magic! Wheel of light!
For a second now, I thought that the incantation was just going to end with her shouting "magic" and making lights happen. I would have enormously preferred that.
Did we get him?
Malpercio!
Either that or indignation.
Why?
I mean, it's not far off from an
How could
indignation.
mere mortals overcome the powers of a god? Impossible.
I guess it's more of a holy than an indignation, but it's in the right ballpark, though.
Huh?
A patchwork of divine limbs forcibly infused with life. Make but an
And when did you guys get here?
distorted vessel. It is beyond
I think the better question is, how did you get here, considering, like, all the demons and the monsters outside?
Well, I mean, we kind of crashed all the rock together, so they probably could have just hopped over.
Right, but they still had to fight through everything to get to here, though. Like, how did they get through the hand bridge? That's all I'm asking.
Even you don't understand. Do you, Lord? Look at me. I'm no longer the weak and sickly Melodia I once was. As true heir to the Duchy of Mira, I have claimed the End Magnus and harnessed the power of the gods of old.
Yeah, you seem fine.
It was not you who harnessed their power. It was they who came to take you back.
Huh? What are you talking about?
And are we still trying to have plot reveals?
Melodia, I can no longer hide the truth from you.
I'm kind of losing track at this point. okay, I know animation budget, but will you look at that skirt? Horizontal. On that bed.
So, it turns out that, Duke Calburn might have done an oopsie.
Hmm. Man, I guess it's not entirely outside the realm of the possible that there might have been more than one mad scientist doing experiments with the fundamental essence of things in cards. I mean, it's kind of an out-of-nowhere thing, but it's on brand, I'll give it that.
I died? 9 years ago?
Anyway, Melodia is extremely stable and having a great time, so now seems like a great time to drop this particular bombshell on her.
Then I am but a shadow.
Like I
A
said,
fake.
she's fine.
An empty shell, restored to a feigned existence by the End Magnus. Is that what I am?
Did he stutter?
Back from the dead. I belong to darkness. Just like Malpercio.
That night, in my state of depression, I heard a voice, a whisper. It claimed it could bring you back to life using the power of the End Magnus.
I thought it seemed pretty on the level.
I could not accept my loss. I could not stand losing you. I could not help myself. Let us finish this now, Melodia. With our combined efforts, we can return Malpercio to the End Magnus that bore him and banish him again, this time for good.
Now that does seem pretty rational.
The End Magnus granted me life?
But
I was
what
the one
if,
being manipulated?
instead of doing that, we blew literally everything up and burned it all down?
Melodia?
Melodia is just having a great time right now.
She's going full Joker.
Hilarious! All of it! The gods had arranged everything! An entire millennium ago?
You never go full Joker.
Why did you bring me back to life? Why didn't you leave me alone so I could die in peace?
Melodia.
I mean, that is admittedly a pretty good question, actually.
I mean, yeah.
Oh no! No, Melodia! Don't do it!
Melodia.
Melodia!
Malpercio! Took her into his being!
Was that what he did?
The empty vessel
I didn't notice.
has a soul.
The other gods! What's happening?
I don't know, Gabari, I think it's pretty damn apparent now what. Like, right? I think we can be expressing a lot of different emotions at this point, but not confusion of any kind.
Is that bad? That seems bad.
Now, there's the kind of 2003 era JRPG particle effects I was expecting.
No one, nothing may escape from the curse. Escape from destruction.
Now, Barnett, of course, predicted all of this down to the exact minutiae as well.
Well, yeah, that's why we had to rely on her so that we could go out into the world and make it happen. It's very important to make sure the prophecies stay true.
You're not getting away!
I mean, I don't know, I think they're getting away. Like, not only are they getting away, but the dungeon music has started up again.
Yeah, fine. Callus, we must end Malpercio's reign once and for all.
Let's finish this, Callus.
We can do it!
You bet we can. Let's do it!
Callus is extremely pumped to go murder a god for real this time.
I mean, that's only because it hasn't occurred to him that this wasn't even the level designer's final form.
Anyway, this is it. This is the final save flower in the entire game.
For real this time.
So next time, it's one-on-one with Malpercio.